Is 10.2 the end? The answer to that question is yes. Most equivocally, yes. I've been saying that for quite a while now. We're going to get a faded rate or something at the end. Don't worry. We'll have things to do. But yeah, 10.2 is the end. Let's see what this leak by Chris Metzen and Ian is.
Patch 10.2 has been revealed, 10.17 just dropped, WoW's leaders have spoken to the press, and a whole load more. It's a pretty stacked time for WoW. If you want the 10.2 lowdown, I'll link my full breakdown video of the patch based on the PTR and the developer interviews. For the rest though, well, watch on, we've got a lot to discuss. And our sponsor. School's back in season, which means that Raycon is having their annual back-to-school sale. And if you just go to buyraycon.com/bellular or just click that link in the description box, you get 20% off site-wide, plus free shipping for a limited time only. And these, the everyday buds, they look and they sound fantastic. They are super comfy. And they don't have like dangly stems hanging off your ears. And they stay in super solid all day. Like if I shake my head about,
look at that.
They're in there rock solid. And man, the battery life. They offer 8
You're
hours
angry
of
running your
playtime
Mythic
and
Plus,
a
shaking your head
32-hour
everywhere.
battery life, which
It
is
won't fall out
so
of your
much
ears.
more
That's
than I've
amazing.
been used to. And that means they actually get through my whole workday without needing to charge. These are the features that I want for way less with my code, and they're like half the price or even less than comparable buds from other brands, and with their premium water and sweat resistance, it's good to know that they're just going to handle the delightful northern Irish weather. They come as well with a wireless charging case, cable, 5 pairs of silicone tips as well, so you can get the perfect fit and that passive noise isolation.
I'm making this ad so much better with my comments.
Back to school sale. Go to buyraycon.com/bellular or click the link in the description box for 20% off site-wide. We've all been accustomed to bad news lately, so here's something. Speaking to GameSpot, WoW's Vice President Holly said this: "For us, it's pretty staggering. It's a really noticeable change. What she's talking about here is player retention. And that's probably the single most important statistic for a game like WoW. And this is in the context of them speaking about our new content cadence. And according to Holly, the cycle of content every 8 weeks or so is going to continue, and they've also reinvented the team to make that happen." As for
I thought player retention, I know player numbers are down in general. Not a lot of people, you know, play Dragonflight when comparing to other expansions. But I thought player retention was good for Dragonflight. Like the people who did play kept playing. And maybe that's what she said in the article. I didn't read the article.
Yeah, I believe it. I do believe that retention is real strong. Because for all the talk online,
I'm right. That's what I thought.
There are countless regular people who don't check fan sites. They don't watch YouTube.
Regular people?
Things
Who the fuck
like
are
that.
they?
They have had a hell of a lot more to do now than they have had at any recent point in the past. And you know what's funny? Traditionally, WoW is amazing at getting people in the door, but really bad at keeping them.
You're always right.
Dragonflight, though, with its lower sales and brilliant retention, is kind of the opposite.
Yeah.
Though, of course, because churn of users...
Most expansions have been the like WoD had the best... I think... Does WoD still hold the record for best selling expansion? It might. WoD had unbelievable numbers in the beginning, and the retention rate was absolutely horrendous. I mean, by the time the Shipyard came out, people were playing Hello Kitty Island Adventure. They didn't want to play WoW anymore. It was really bad, especially towards the end. Dragonflight was the opposite. Not as much of an uptick in terms of people playing, because Shadowlands really scared people away. Zoval may have, in fact, ended World of Warcraft as we know it, but anyone who did play Dragonflight continued to play, because it is a good expansion.
The real killer, that being down, I think is massive for the game's future. And as for me, well, I've barely had time to play, but I still am counted as a monthly active user this whole expansion, even if it is just filling out my adventure journal. What about you? Is your retention up? Okay, pirate speculation. You saw a whole bunch of it on the internet, and Mike Ybarra, president of Blizzard, said no pirates. Just kind of curious. Now, why did people speculate pirate involvement? It's pretty simple. A whole bunch of store items,
all the
but
shit
let's
on the
not
store.
talk about that right now. Blizzard, though, dropped a whole bunch of lore about this guy named the Night Squall, who kind of seems like Euron Greyjoy from the books, if you know the Thrones reference. But basically, he's trying to assemble the single greatest pirate fleet
to go to the other side of
exist
Azeroth
to sail beyond the Veiled Sea. So yeah, no wonder we thought pirates could be involved. Now, technically, they still may be. Dragonflight established that pre-Sundering Kalimdor was not Azeroth's only continent, and that does actually mean that yes, there is something beyond the Veiled and Forbidden Seas.
Right.
You know I've talked about this lore a whole bunch of times. We don't need to do the whole thing again. Now, Xal'atath and Iridikron, they were clearly doing something, right? That something will
fondling
probably,
each other.
I'd say,
Finger popping.
lead us to the other side of the planet, to wherever this other continent is. So, if it's not South Seas, as is put forward by the Voidstorm MMO champion leak that I talked about recently, then the other side of Azeroth is looking more possible than ever.
I think this leak was completely fan-made. If you don't know what it is, it was a Voidstorm, and yeah, World of Warcraft Voidstorm. And they had a bunch of stuff in here. I think this was just a fan
by the Voidstorm MMO champion leak that I talked about recently, then the other side of Azeroth is looking more possible than ever. No Pirate still does fit that. There are other reasons for us to go there. And the Night Squall character doesn't even have to show up for 11.0. I mean, the greatest pirate fleet ever assembled, happening to land on the shores of Avalorn. You can use Avalorn to give it some narrative spice. Avalorn, of course. We've talked about that before too. But that could easily end up being part of a big patch narrative. Anyway, in my opinion, we've got two directions.
Yeah, maybe we don't get a pirate expansion. Maybe we just get a pirate patch. That's possible.
4, revamp.
Yes,
Number
the revamp.
2, whatever the consequence of Iridikron's plan is. And that may involve the other side of the world. And by the way, on the world revamp, I've got a video out tomorrow for that, so stay tuned. Ian kind of confirmed what they're going to do.
We already watched that video, actually, and yeah, he did basically confirm that it is going to happen. Why I think the world revamp and the other continent kind of line up nicely is, imagine we do go to another continent, big continent, other side of the world, and we spend a lot of time there. When we come back, Azeroth could be revamped. And it's pretty, like, story-wise it works. Maybe it healed from the Cataclysm, and everything got a bit of an up-res in terms of resolution. I would love to see a world revamp of the old content. It'd be, I think it'd be great, and it would allow us to go back to the old zones in the way they were meant to be, not the cataclysmic revamp way where they just destroyed them.
Metzen then. A while ago I reported on Taliesin saying that on the grapevine he heard more details of Chris Metzen's involvement with the franchise. Well, Holly and Ian in that GameSpot interview have commented further on it. So, apparently the title of creative advisor actually doesn't do what Metzen's doing justice. Apparently he is a force in the office and is dedicated to making Warcraft all it can be. Now, Ian says that it's amazing to be able to bounce ideas off Metzen, especially because now the WoW team is going well beyond what Chris initially established with Warcraft 3. And really that is true. The Burning Crusade and Wrath were direct
all the old lore
of Warcraft 3 campaigns. Cataclysm picked up a character from Warcraft 1 and 2. Mop was certainly new, but it did follow Chen from the founding of Orgrimmar campaign in Warcraft 3. Warlords of Draenor was all Warcraft 1 and 2 orc lore made modern. Legion is capping off the core story of Warcraft 3. Battle for Azeroth and Shadowlands then. Both happened after Metzen's 2016 departure, and while they did play around with some things that existed as of Warcraft 3, I think it's quite fair to say that they weren't always...
Play around. They basically destroyed the old lore. That's what they did. They didn't fucking play around with it. They ripped it apart, spit in its face, slapped it around, and then told its mom bad things about it. It was absolutely horrible. I hate what Shadowlands did to the lore. Unfortunately, I don't think it's going to be retconned. It's just going to sit there forever, and we're just going to have to deal with the fact that it happened.
Was on the mark, right? They didn't always get what being part of Warcraft meant.
They killed Sylvanas, yeah, in terms of story.
By saying, having Chris available as a resource and as a partner as we start to create new things, new places, and still have them feel quintessentially Warcrafty is something he is uniquely suited to do. And to me, that sounds like, number one, it's addressing one of the main weaknesses I found in the game, and I suppose number two, it sounds perfect. The true test of this, of course, will be whatever expansion they announce in just a few months at BlizzCon. 10.17 then. Broad reactions have been okay, fine, good.
Yeah, it's fine.
To do the main quest first, it's a lightning quick setup for our jaunt into the Emerald Dream. It's one that, well, it opens by showing the potential conflict between Farak and Veranoth. It then nearly immediately shows us that relationship going south, and then minutes later, quite literally, Veranoth joins us.
Yeah, that was quick.
Whiplash.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. When she joined us, I thought she had come to talk to us, and it wasn't going to happen yet. It seemed inevitable that eventually she was going to join us at this point. But I do feel like it was a little bit quick. Like, there could have been a little bit more storytelling or questing going on in between but it was literally like she fights him, and then now she's standing with the other dragons, and she's heading over to be on our side now.
Very, very quick. It's so brisk that we don't really get to enjoy the journey of those two characters falling out, which is a shame, right? It's a missed opportunity. What I did see on screen, I liked, even though, yes, I expected Veranoth to join us, but perhaps after a full patch worth of story. Clearly then, Blizzard wanted this to be quick. Yeah. I presume so they can double down hard on Farak's descent into having way too much fun being evil. Because, by the way, that's Matt Mercer, and he's completely killing that role. If Farak, I guess, is at least as fun as the Razageth fight, I'll be pleased. Okay, Night Elves then. Yeah, the Night Elf Heritage Quest. I am very glad that I'm recording this after we've played the 10.2 campaign, at least 4 chapters of it.
I haven't done it.
And that's because the Night Elf Heritage Quest doesn't really dive into the Night Elf heritage, right? It's short, it does some cool things, it's got some combat in it, but ultimately it's short, it's kind of mid, it doesn't really give Night Elves the love that Orcs got in 10.05. And I'm really glad we played 10.2, because 10.2's campaign gets Night Elves right amongst quite a lot of other things. So this is not an ideal situation. I wish the Night Elf Heritage questline was not in this patch and was later and could have dove into their heritage. So yeah, we're not screwed. Night Elf stuff in 10.2 is good, but it is a shame. That being said, the set that you get is awesome. Finally getting those glaives is awesome. And if you've wondered where the whole white and blue coloration of the Heritage Armor set is, the good news is we are going to get it, just not right now. It's being worn by Sentinel NPCs in 10.2, and per Blizzard, they will basically show how we can get that when they're ready. So
this set looks good. It turned out to be a nice set.
Forsaken then. Largely, the Forsaken situation does seem pretty damn good. I'll be diving into that this week on the channel. For the Bronze Dragonflight, to me, it basically just seems like they're trying to really tie that up quick. It's almost to the degree where I personally wonder if they've scaled back plans there. And because I love time stuff, that's kind of disappointing. That being said, time stuff can be really problematic.
This is why I think 10.2 is the final patch too. Maybe they made like we went through the story of the Bronze Dragonflight. It's wrapped up. The Red Dragonflight was the very start with Alex Straza and everything and reestablishing stuff. The Black Dragonflight, we got them a new leader. They're all set too. The Blue Dragonflight, we went through their quest line. That's all good. We went and saw all the old blue dragons and how they have a new leader. And finally, we got the Green Dragonflight now. And the Green Dragonflight is going to be wrapped up in 10.2 storyline. So what are we going to do? Create a new Dragonflight? Like, that's it. We're done, boys. There's no 10.3. No need for it. I think we're just going to move on. Same with the Incarnates. Razageth. There's 4 of them. Razageth, we killed her. Farak, we're going to kill him. Veranoth has joined our side and is probably going to lead the rest of the, old proto-drakes now that she's the only one left. And Galakron, I think his story is going to be wrapped up in that he has gone away into the void and we're not fighting him this expansion. So that's it. Everything's got a bow on it. We're done. We're leaving the Dragon Isles. Time to go into the void or go see some pirates or maybe butt pirate void shit. I don't know. But these stories, I think, are wrapped up. And I don't think there's a need for a 10.3.
The right call.
We get a 10.2.5 and a 10.2.7.
Beyond that, then, of course, we've got the Minari Drenai quest dropping this week, actually.
Heroic
today. Data mining, we may even learn what the current ex-Legion forces are up to, which will certainly be interesting.
I don't think
PSA, right, I dropped this leveling guide yesterday. You've definitely got to check it out, and you've got to check it out like now, before reset. It's pretty big, and the bit of news here that's good for you to know in general is that Burning Crusade and Wrath Time Walking is available from level 30. Cataclysm and Mop from 35, Wad from 40, and Legion from 45.
Nice.
That's pretty big, though. For some reason, you have to drop out of Chromie time to be able to queue up for it. I don't know why it's done like that.
That's weird.
Anyhow, as of this video coming out, there's only a day or even hours left of Wrath Time Walking. And as you see in my leveling guide, that's a massive opportunity to get some levels on your characters. The Bobster's merry band of business buffoons are hard at work again. Moves have been made, something's been smeared over the walls, and players feel just a little bit nickel and dimed.
What?
Even those who did make purchases. So, on patch launch, the store corsages disappeared from people. The new paid transmog set has a broken hood and a belt that messes up the robe. Troublesome delivery aside, take a gander through this month's trading post and you will see something odd. A staff that costs 500 tender and is up for 60 days. That's twice normal. I wonder why. Oh,
Why?
I know why. It's because Blizzard have also released the most expensive transmogrification on the store ever. Costing $25, the High Scholars Pack contains an oddly plain-looking set.
Yeah, why is this one so expensive?
To the Flame Plume set.
I don't get it. What's so special about this set? Like, why did Blizzard think this set was a good idea? Are they just testing the market to see how much we'll pay for a transmog? Because there's nothing special about that. It looks like, literally, I could have seen an NPC walking around Dalaran wearing this set, and I wouldn't have even looked twice. There's nothing special about it.
High Scholars Pack contains an oddly plain-looking set. I mean, compare this to the Flame Plume set that dropped, and was a few bucks cheaper, right? A bit weird. Oh, wait. It comes with 500 Traders Tender. Hang on. That is the amount of tender that you'll get from buying, say, the base edition of our next expansion come November, just to give you an idea of how much that they would value that amount of tender. It's also much more than the 200 bonus tender that we got with the Corsage set, so they're definitely ramping up there. And also remember that staff in the trading post that costs 500 tender. Yes, there you go. Remember that, because it happens to match this transmogrification set perfectly. Now, you could say, oh, this is a pro. What if you like the set but don't want the weapon? Spend the tenders however you want. But then I'll point out just how expensive this very middle-of-the-road set is at $25.
It's crazy.
And, yeah, it's basically, you know, like the sort of the deconstructed sandwich, the IKEA effect, you know? Oh, assemble the full set yourself by
Looks
buying
like a Mage
the
Tier
staff.
1 set,
Maybe you'll appreciate it more. Now, funnily enough, in that interview earlier, WoW's VP Holly did comment on this. She said the team is experimenting with ways to serve players who lack time for in-game activities but still want to earn some rewards.
Ways to serve the whales. That's what she's talking about. They're trying to figure out ways to better serve the whales. Who are the whales? The guys who are working a lot, making a lot of money, still want to play WoW but don't have the time to play WoW. So what do? You milk them. You milk them. You tell them, hey, you don't got to play WoW. Buy this transmog. You'll still look cool. Hey, you don't got to play WoW. Buy these mounts. You'll still look cool. Hey, you over there. You don't got to play WoW. Buy some WoW tokens. Get some gold and then buy some gear off the auction house. There you go. You're all set, buddy. You can go back to your real-life job again.
But she says that the trading post still does remain focused on rewarding players who are playing, not as a microtransaction store, but for some players. She says there are some players, they're not very vocal, but there are some who ask, I don't have time to get all my tenders. I'd buy some of this stuff. And Holly said, so, you know, we try it out. Yeah, they sure do.
Serve the whale.
Funny enough, though, one decently good thing that I will say. There are new surge objectives, right? These are objectives that will become active 1 week before the end of the month that will allow people to catch up. So, while this is quite frustrating,
interesting, right? 1 week before the end of the month. What could happen at the end? What did Sam predict would happen at the end of the month on October 31st, the night of Halloween? Maybe a patch drop. So wouldn't it make sense to have a bunch of catch-up mechanics activated the week before 10.2 drops? Hints on top of hints. Listen, guys, listen. Climb onto my back, and I will show you the truth.
Nice to see that I suppose they are doing something to make sure that people don't have that bad experience of missing out. Big picture, though, I would refer you to our Time is Money sort of documentary essay video we did last year, and I'd also remind you that this creates bad incentives, right? Because if the store items overall get more expensive, but you earn the same amount of tender, only for them to start selling you extra tender, I think we all know why. And by the way, if you add up those monthly tender totals, yeah, they have kind of increased. Is it all over, right? Is this the end? That's something loads of people have asked about 10 too. In interviews, staff basically said they could not say yes or no if 10.2 is the final major patch of the expansion.
We're going to get a 10.2.5 and a 2.7.
Will continue. That they could say for sure. In a way, that's an odd thing to say, because patch 10.3 existing would be good news to the players, so why not say it? Either they don't want to for just PR reasons, right? Managing their key announcements. It could be up in the air, right? There's also that. Or perhaps this is the final major patch and they just don't want the headlines.
They're even giving us an AOTC mount to this in 10.2. I don't think they've ever given us an AOTC mount, and it's not the last patch. That would mean Farak is the last boss. It makes sense. Everything's saying it's the
Now,
last
I will
patch.
point out that Farak drops a mount for
there
ahead
you
of the
go.
curve.
There you go. I
And
didn't
that's
pre-watch the video, I
something
swear.
That is only really done for the final boss of an expansion. But then again, Blizzard are in a bit of a habit of breaking from norms these days. Anyway, look,
Maybe.
at minimum, I think you can expect this from your WoW sub.
Yeah, the mount looks amazing.
10.2.5 and
It does.
10.2.7.
We're gonna get it.
Both containing narrative and other things. Likely, I would say, the Brawlers Guild coming back. I would also expect, at minimum, a Season 4 that is similar to the final season of Shadowlands.
Yeah.
Plus, of course,
Faded
a
rating,
pre-patch,
PvP,
a
all that
full
shit.
expansion launch, and potentially patch 11.0.5. So, you know what? If that's one of the worst case scenarios and we don't get a 10.3, big picture,
Bring
it's
out
a hell of a
11.
lot better than, like, actually any other years, really. So it's actually pretty good. And finally, one or two things to run you through. First, listen to this.
Just let me in.
Now, listen to this.
Just let me in.
Kind of interesting, right?
The hell?
The version of the 10.1.7 cinematic that they posted online versus the one that we later found in-game. And the big question is, what are those other voices? Is that Farak tapping
shit.
into the Shadow Flame? Is it him being corrupted? Is it an entity speaking through
That's
him
crazy.
from outside our reality? Because
Whoa. Were they really different? I heard the difference.
version of the 10.1.7 cinematic. Listen to this.
Okay. That's just his
Now,
voice.
listen to this.
Just let me in.
Oh, there's
Kind of
clearly a
interesting,
second.
right?
Oh my god, that's pretty
version
wild.
of the
Damn.
Farak tapping into the Shadow Flame? Is it him being corrupted? Is it an entity speaking through him from outside our reality? Because if it is, then that line, "let me in," I mean, come on, feels like a double meaning. And also, Secrets of Azeroth is out, the event holiday thing. And you
Yeah,
know what?
people have been
Actually,
doing
yeah,
that.
it seems to be pretty great. People are having a really good reaction. Thankfully, there's
Auction
no
house
FOMO
mount in the
involved
shop.
in it, and
Yeah,
it
that
will
would
be
be mega
available
cringe.
for a week, I think, after the final clue drops on, I think it's the 12th day. So you can hit up the Secrets Discord or Wowhead to get stuck into that. Okay, that is it for today's video. We have so much content coming out. Be ready for the World Revamp video tomorrow, and you can check out yesterday's video on how you can rocket your alts through those levels super fast. Thanks for watching. See you next time.
Do it. Yeah, it looks great. 10.2, dropping on October 31st. I'm telling you, it will be the final patch, but that's okay. We'll get a little bit of faded rating, another season of everything else as well, but it just won't be a 0.3 because there will not be a raid or anything else to do. Telling you. I'm telling you.